Screen. I'm Nicole Mace. I'm the finance manager here at the district. So any person who is administering or part of the meals program, either serving meals or delivering meals, is required to participate in an annual civil rights training. It's part of the federal and state requirements for the program. This is part of the National School Meals Program, or depending on the time of year, the Summer Meals Program. And so there are a fair amount of federal and state requirements that we have to follow in order to be reimbursed for our meals. And this is one of them. So I'm going to take you through this. Many of you may have seen these slides before. Once you've participated in the training on a yearly basis, you don't have to do it again until the following year. So we'll start with the definition of discrimination, and this comes from the Vermont Agency of Education. Different treatment, which makes a distinction of one person or a group of persons from others based on one or more protected categories, either intentionally, by neglect, or by action or lack of actions. And so for the purpose of these programs, the food and nutrition service programs, there are 6 federally protected categories and 4 Vermont-specific protected categories. The federally protected categories are race, color, national origin, sex, age, and disability. And the additional Vermont protected categories include religion, sexual orientation, gender identity, and marital/civil union status. So all food service programs must have a public notification system, and the purpose of this system is to inform people of the availability of the program rights and responsibilities, the program's non-discrimination policy, the procedure for filing a complaint of discrimination, to make program information available to the public upon request, and to inform eligible people, applicants, participants, and community organizations of programs and program changes. And you may have seen, as part of our school newsletter, we issue notices to the public that comply with these requirements, in addition to just making sure folks are aware of the opportunities to obtain meals through the school district. So the required elements of public notification: to prominently display the "And Justice for All" non-discrimination poster in all required areas. So you have probably seen these. They're bright green. I had one behind me, but now that I'm in the trailer, it's not here anymore. But so the district takes responsibility for displaying those non-discrimination posters, conveying the message of equal opportunity in all photos and graphics used to provide program information, providing information in alternative formats for people with disabilities, providing information in appropriate languages for limited English proficiency individuals, and including the required non-discrimination statement on all appropriate materials, publications, websites, etc. So this is the full non-discrimination statement that I will not read through, but it includes details around how to file a complaint with the USDA. The U.S. Department of Agriculture oversees this program, and the Office of the Assistant Secretary for Civil Rights through the USDA is responsible for receiving complaints of discrimination. And here is a link to that statement, which is available in a number of languages at that link. So another piece of the program is to require us to collect data around program participants. So on an annual basis, we have to apply to participate in this program, and we are required to enter racial and ethnic data on an annual basis as part of our application. The purpose of this is to determine how effectively our programs are reaching potentially eligible individuals and to determine if additional outreach is necessary. It's used only for statistical purposes and does not impact our eligibility. Children must not be asked to identify their race or ethnicity. And for the purposes of the school meals program, data is collected by the registrar at the time of enrollment. So, and/or households can report this information on the back of their free and reduced price meal application. But individual teachers or other staff who are collecting daily information in terms of the meals that students receive are not responsible for collecting this data. It gets collected at the district level. Ooh. I think I skipped. Another requirement of the program is to take reasonable steps to ensure meaningful access to the nutrition programs for limited English proficiency individuals, so folks for whom English is not their first language or who have limited English proficiency. Meaningful access is accomplished by providing reasonable, timely, appropriate, competent, qualified, accurate, and effective language services. And in our case, we provide information about availability of school meals to families through the use of our liaisons who have done an incredible job getting information out to families and encouraging them to pick up meals at the different locations we've had in the community. And they're continuing to do that work, both written and through phone calls and other means to ensure that all families are aware of the options as we're in this really dynamic and changing environment in terms of how we're distributing meals to students and families. So we do provide translated applications and menus and other critical information. And we are bound to not require students to be used to translate program requirements unless it's an emergency. So the program also requires us to pay attention to concerns around disability discrimination. So the definition of disability discrimination is discrimination by denying benefits or opportunities for individuals to participate, segregating individuals with disabilities, aiding, perpetuating, or contracting with others that discriminate, the failure to provide a reasonable modification, ineffective communication, and inaccessible facilities. So we have to ensure that there are procedures in place to accommodate children with a disability. Melissa and Nina were talking about, for example, students with a food allergy, which I'll get to in a minute there, but that if there is a concern related to meals, we have to work together with the parent, guardian, administrators, and the nurse's office to determine what types of modifications are necessary and to provide meal modifications in accordance with guidance from licensed medical professionals. So those modifications should be related to the disability or limitations caused by the disability. The modification requested does not have to be the modification that is provided, but some kind of accommodation must be provided. An exception would be a modification that would fundamentally alter the nature of the program. Those types of modifications typically are not required. Stereotypes regarding certain conditions or individuals can never determine decisions. Decisions must be based on facts. Meal accommodations do not need to mirror the meal or the meal item substituted. And lifestyle choices, such as vegetarianism, are not considered disabilities and do not need to be accommodated unless it's related to an underlying disability. And the objective here is really to provide appropriate modifications for individuals with disabilities. Food allergies, many food allergies do fall under the definition of a disability and applies to much more than just a life-threatening allergic reaction. So here's some examples of the, the 8 food groups that account for 90% of the most serious allergic reactions. So if you do hear from a student or a parent concerned about food allergy and for whatever reason that information has not been conveyed to the health office, you want to make sure that that happens immediately so that you can coordinate with both the health office, the Abbey group, and the administrator, the appropriate administrator around how to respond and address concerns about food allergies. So another element of this training is what happens if someone makes a complaint of discrimination related to the meals program. So we should never discourage individuals or groups from filing complaints or voicing allegations of discrimination. Complaints regarding civil rights have to be submitted to the USDA. However, if somebody makes a complaint to you, you can both encourage them to file directly with the USDA, but also send them to me because our obligation is to record and track any complaints that we receive, any civil rights complaints that we receive related to the meals program. When you think about the 6 federally protected categories, the USDA oversees those complaints. If it's related to one of the 4 categories that falls under Vermont specific law, you would want to refer folks to the Vermont Agency of Education, and their contact information is there. And again, the non-discrimination statement that is on the Injustice for All posters and in this presentation and appears in a lot of our printed notices to the community also provides instructions on how individuals can file a complaint directly with the USDA. The Agency of Education will conduct periodic reviews in order to determine civil rights compliance. So they'll be looking for things like whether or not the and Justice for All posters that are being displayed, and that they are the current version of the poster, whether everyone has received this training. And so again, it's really important that we track that, and I believe Emily's going to work with folks in the IT department to make sure that they're part of, we have a system for tracking your participation in the training. Whether the non-discrimination statement is on our website, on the calendar menu, and whether we have a written procedure for handling complaints of discrimination. So those are the things that the agency will be looking for when they do their periodic review. In the case of, pervasive issues or a specific situation, there may be a special civil rights review conducted. Non-compliance would be a finding that any civil rights requirement is not being followed by a school district or child nutrition program sponsor. Significant findings are reported to the USDA, but any finding requires corrective action. Those corrections must occur immediately in order to be in voluntary compliance. So we work closely with the Abbey group to ensure that all these pieces are in place and are monitored closely by the agency to ensure we are in compliance. And I believe this is the last, slide. So, and this comes from the Agency of Education's presentation. I have sort of edited it to cover the topics that are required for folks who are delivering meals or serving meals in schools. And the point that they raise is that good customer service can help reduce or eliminate complaints of discrimination. It's important to remember that all participants must be treated in the same manner. You cannot separate students by protected basins and seating arrangements, serving lines, facilities. Effective communication is essential, and anyone involved in the meals program should know and be able to explain any requirements that we must follow. And if in fact a conflict arises as a result of meal service, really just seek to understand the person's perspective, remain calm, ask questions, listen, with the goal of addressing concerns and moving forward. So if you have any questions about this training or the meals program, that's my contact information. I will just say thank you very much and look forward to seeing you soon. Bye.